Hello, I'm Jamie and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a video on unpopular opinions about ghosts. So I asked you guys in my last video to give me your unpopular opinions, and yeah, we've got loads of really good opinions to go through and hopefully kind of generate a bit of discussion on some of the things, because there are some really interesting points people have made, and yeah, let's just get into it. So the first two unpopular opinions that I got are actually kind of related, which is quite cool. So the first one reads, I don't know if this is unpopular, but Kitty could be bi and she has a crush on Alison, but she passes it off as just one to be besties. I don't know if Kitty and Thomas would bond over liking Alison, or Thomas would just be more jealous. So this is really interesting, and is actually something that I saw being discussed in relation to, I think, kind of discussing how the ghost died, and the idea of Kitty being like bi or lesbian or something like that kind of comes up quite a lot because of just this infatuation she has with Alison, and I can definitely see that being the case. I think, yeah, like she does have this infatuation towards Alison, similar to how Thomas does as well. There is a difference for me between Thomas and Kitty. Like, as you said, she does kind of play it off as kind of like she just wants to be friends, which I definitely lean more towards that for me, and Thomas is more kind of the in love with her. But I don't necessarily think that Kitty couldn't be like sexually or romantically attracted to her. I think that is a strong possibility, and it would be interesting to see how this is explored. For me personally, I see her as trying to replace her sister, who she obviously wanted to be really close with, and she obviously wanted to have a strong connection with, and she's trying to replace that with Alison, similar to how I see Thomas as we're trying to replace Alison with Isabel with Alison. So yeah, I think this is just really a case of interpretation, how you see that attraction that Kitty shows Alison. For me, it could go, I'm happy with either way they decide to do it. I think it could work very well as, you know, Kitty perhaps realising her attraction isn't just a friendship or friendly attraction. And the second one, which again I said is linked, is that Fanny actually gives strong repressed lesbian or bisexual vibes, leaning towards bisexual because after figuring out the way she felt about men, she decided she was 100% straight, no takebacks. Definitely gives me the impression of yes, I'm gay, yes, I'm homophobic, we exist. Again, like, Fanny is definitely very, very, very sexually repressed, and, you know, we only really see that kind of, we see her struggling with being attracted to men, to Mike. I don't know whether it's just kind of like, it's one of those things that she just suddenly saw and she couldn't control it, because obviously she's very strict with herself, she's very repressed essentially, and I definitely feel like it could be explored in a way of maybe that happens with a different person, like maybe a woman would be quite interesting. I'm not too sure, because I've also heard that Mary could be some people see her as lesbian or bisexual, and again I do kind of see where they're coming from. It could be like that's how she died. So obviously it would be very cool to see them make another character gay or bisexual, and I'm definitely all for that. The only thing I would say is that if they do, I don't want their sexuality to be linked to their death in any way, because we already have Fanny dying because she finds out her husband is gay and he's cheating on her with men, and then the captain's sexuality is being heavily linked to his death. That's what a lot of kind of theories around the captain kind of believe to be true, is that his sexuality is somehow related to his death. And I don't want, we can have the captain, you know, his repressed sexuality somehow links to his death. And I don't want that to happen with any of the other characters. You know, if Mary is, let's say Mary, if she turns out to be bisexual or lesbian, I don't want her to have died because of that, because it's kind of like advanced burying your gays. So I don't know if you know, I'm not an expert on it, but like the burying your gays or killing your gays trope in film and TV is essentially when a character who is long hinted to be bi or gay or anything like that, they eventually come out and then immediately die, or they get into a relationship with somebody of the same sex and then one of those die. It's an extremely like horrible trope that is used in TV, and I don't want all of the people that may not be straight to have their deaths caused by that in some way. Okay, so next one is to do with Thomas, and it says, Thomas is more off-putting in the intrusive way than Julian. He just appears everywhere and I'd be so uncomfortable around him, just shoving bad poetry at me that I don't really want. Yep, I agree with this. Even though Thomas is really sweet and he's such an interesting character, he is, for me, a bit creepier than Julian is. Like, Julian will make jokes, he will make remarks about, like, sexual stuff and whatever, but, like, he knows, I think Julian knows that he's bad. It's kind of like someone, you know, like David Brent from The Office, like, he makes sexual remarks, he, you know, is a bit of an idiot really, but, like, it's his character, and that's the point of his character, where with Thomas, he's kind of portrayed as this really sweet, innocent, I want to love you character, when in fact he's actually, like, really creepy, really invasive, not really respecting anybody's boundaries. So yeah, I definitely get that sense. Like Thomas seems to not take no for an answer a lot of times, but, like, in a subtle way. Like when he said, like, you don't want him just spouting bad poetry at you that you don't want, and it seems like he won't get his way with something, and then he'll go pout for, like, ages, or go drown himself in the lake when something doesn't go his way. Whereas with Julian, for a lot of the time, but, like, he hasn't actually made remarks at Alison that I can think of. He might have done, but he hasn't really made any remarks. He hasn't made any sexual remarks to them. It's just talking about his life and the stuff he got up to when he was alive. Whereas Thomas is, like, directly making remarks and pursuing Alison directly. I feel like the dynamic is great between the characters and all, but it might feel less empty if there were more people in the house who can't see the ghosts, especially for Mike. Yeah, I haven't actually thought about this much, but yeah, Mike must be, like, so lonely. Like, that house is massive, and for the only person he sees consistently is Alison, and she's then preoccupied with ghosts. It must be so lonely for him. I really like the episodes when there are more people in the house, because there's more people to kind of engage indirectly with the ghosts. Like, they might say something and then the ghosts will pick up on it and say something funny in response. I think the episodes that there are more people in are just, like, the funniest, and I think they do kind of know that, because a lot of the episodes do have people come into the house, because obviously, like I said, you have the ghosts interacting with them indirectly, and then you also have Alison interacting with them, who is then being told to say things by the ghosts and putting her in an awkward situation, and it just works really well. And then also we can get more responses from Mike and see how he, you know, talks to them and stuff like that. And so next unpopular opinion is that Julian is the worst character in Ghosts. I just really don't see a lot of humour in his constant sexual and political remarks. Yeah, so again, this one is just a matter of opinion, really. I mean, all of these are based on opinion, but this is just directly, like, what you find funny, and I can completely understand if people are really, like, put off by Julian's, you know, humour and sexual remarks, and yeah, the emphasis on political humour. And I agree with I agree with all of it. Like, for me, the sexual remarks don't really seem too bad. Like, as I said, it's not really making them towards somebody, it's, you know, recounting what he got up to when he was alive. But yeah, sometimes the political stuff kind of, you know, a lot of it is a bit too relevant. Yeah, so I'm kind of in the middle with that one. I completely understand where you're coming from, but I find it quite funny. So the next one is, if the captain and Julian were to be in a relationship, it would actually be really toxic, and Julian would use Cap and wouldn't really care for him. Yeah, I don't really understand the shipping between Julian and the captain. I don't see them together. I don't think they're a great fit, like, at all. Like, I guess kind of the dynamic between somebody who's really kind of repressed in his sexuality and then somebody who's a complete opposite, and that's all he talks about is, you know, his sex and sexuality and stuff. So I can understand why people kind of ship them together, you know, opposites attract kind of thing. You know, Julian might bring the captain out of the closet and, you know, but no, I don't ship them together. I think, you know, they get on all right as friends. I just think they're both two people who want to be in control, and yeah, I feel like it would be quite toxic. My unpopular opinion is that Pat is the best character. Yep, I think that Pat is a brilliant character. You know, I put him on the top of my list for the rankings, so yeah, I love Pat. I think he's a brilliant character and he's hilarious and just amazing. So if Pat is somebody's favourite character, then that's brilliant. But like, I don't know. I don't think I would disagree with anybody if any of the ghosts was their favourite character. Like, they're all brilliant in their own way. Okay, so the next one has quite a few opinions in, so I'll go through them one by one. I'll read the whole thing out and then go through it. So I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but I ship Cap with Pat and Thomas with Julian. Also, Mike deserves more appreciation and I like the headcanon that Cap is autistic. So, Captain and Pat. I don't really ship many of the characters together. Like, for me, they are a group and they work well as a group. The only ones I would ship are probably Mary and Robin. I just think they would be chaotic and just insane, and I love them both, and I think, yes, out of all the ships, that's my favourite. But Captain and Pat, I think would work out of all of them. I think they do have the most interactions with each other, I do think they have a great dynamic together, so I'm not surprised that people ship them together, like, whatsoever. Julian and Thomas is one I've actually never heard of before. I mean, they're both, you know, one's overly romantic and one's overly sexual, so I don't know, they might be a good fit in one way, but like, I don't know, for me personally, I don't ship them. Yeah, I'd like people to explain why they would be a good fit, because for me, in my head, they are like incompatible, so it's quite hard for me to comment on this one. I just don't see them in that way. So Mike deserves more appreciation, absolutely. I absolutely love Mike. I think he's brilliant, and yeah, I didn't know people actually didn't like him until like stumbling across a subreddit. I think I love Mike. I think he is an amazing character. He's hilarious. He's had some really, really, really funny moments, and I'd be very disappointed if he wasn't in the show or was in the show less. I think that we need to have more episodes focusing on Mike, because the one, like the Bump in the Night episode, was a brilliant episode. Yeah, because he's kind of like pushed out the way, which I understand because he obviously can't see the ghosts, but I definitely feel like he should be kind of included in the main action a bit more. So the last opinion they've included is that they like the headcanon that Cap is autistic, and as I said when I first mentioned, I think it was to do with Mike, I don't really know much about kind of autistic traits, so I didn't really see this characteristic in him, but other people pointed it out and what they said kind of made sense. It's kind of like the obsession with like one thing is apparently a trait. If I'm wrong, please correct me. This is just what other people have said, and I definitely see we definitely see that with, you know, his obsession with war. And okay. So the next one is really interesting to me. So, unpopular opinion: with the eventual last few ever episodes, Mike should die and become a ghost, then shenanigans and meeting everybody. And the show as a whole should end with Alison living with her ghosts pretty happily and people just thinking she is a reclusive young widow. Edit, maybe even the whole last series. I think this is a really, really interesting plot line. I think, yeah, that would be... I really want Mike to meet the ghosts. That's like one of my main things, and you know, there is only one way that is going to happen if he dies or something similar happens that happened to Alison. Yeah, because I think he would interact with the ghosts amazingly, and yeah, it would have to be a last episode or last season thing. It will make me very sad though. Like, as I said before, I love Mike, and it will just be so sad. Yeah, I don't know how comedic they could make that, but I think it's a very interesting plot line, and yeah, it's brilliant. I absolutely love that. Okay, so I'm going to link this to one that was put up a few days ago. So I don't know if this counts as an unpopular opinion, but I think it'd be a really good plot twist would be that Alison actually did die from falling out the window, and all of this is a coping mechanism created by Mike after losing his wife. It's unlikely to happen and it will destroy me emotionally, but I think it'd be very powerful. Yeah, in my head I was like, oh wow, that could be like really interesting. Like, he's kind of imagining this kind of ghost thing happening, and I think it would be interesting, but I think it doesn't really fit with the show as it is anymore, because like we have seen kind of real people interact with Alison, so like I think it's a really interesting idea, and I think as a show concept it could work really well. I think it'd be brilliant, but you know, people have seen Alison, they've interacted with her, so I don't think it would work. But again, like, a really interesting idea. So another person thinks that Fanny is the worst character. She's super annoying, and I personally don't find her that funny. Yeah, I agree. I think out of the ghosts, she is the one that I like the least, even though I still love her. But like, her kind of humour and the jokes that she makes, while there are some funny ones, I think it's people making fun of her and making jokes about her that are funnier. Yeah, I think she's a vital character, and I do really like her, but like, I think all of the other ones are a bit more, I find, just funnier, and I can relate to a bit more than with Fanny. Like, she's just so strict and just so like demanding, so I can definitely understand why somebody doesn't like her. So, unpopular opinion, Julian is the funniest in the show, which is a complete opposite to somebody else's unpopular opinion. Yeah, as I said to the other one, I can definitely understand why you find Julian really, really funny, and I can understand why people wouldn't find Julian funny. I think he's definitely the most divisive character. So, Thomas isn't a pathetic character. I hear lots of people saying he's a lovesick puppy, but he genuinely has feelings and a backstory. He shouldn't always be there to laugh at. He should be empathised with, or at least understood, especially with his affection for Alison. Yes, I don't really see him as pathetic personally, you know, and I don't think his feelings are invalid. My main issue with Thomas is the way he acts on his feelings and the way that he doesn't take Alison's feelings and kind of denial appropriately. But yeah, I'm not anyway. I do feel like his feelings for Alison are very real. I feel like they also could be just a replacement of Isabel. I think Isabel is his true love kind of thing, and after the episode based on his backstory, what he's gone through was like horrible, and he's a very romantic character, and yeah, now I don't blame him for kind of really attaching to somebody because he's lost somebody that he really, really liked, and he was portrayed like horribly. So yeah, I don't think his feelings are pathetic or that he's just kind of insincere in his feelings, because I do feel like he is very much in love with Alison. But on the other hand, I can definitely see why people feel like his feelings are kind of superficial, because it was literally as soon as he met her, he was like, I'm in love with her. And yeah, I guess it all depends on whether you feel like his love is valid, which I'm kind of like, I can see both sides to that one. Okay, the next one. I don't want to see Mike and Alison have a baby in the 3rd series. I just find babies quite boring, comedy-wise. They are fine as a one-off, such as the Christmas special, but not for a full series. Also, I quite like having a contented, childless couple on telly. Yes, I completely agree. I don't think that Alison and Mike should have a baby until like the last season. I feel like kind of the last season as kind of, they're moving on with their life kind of thing. And I think it would be quite interesting to see how a baby interacts with the ghosts, like if they can see them, Yeah, but as you said, it is very, very good to see kind of a couple happy as they are without children, and that it's not this kind of life goal that they have to reach to be like considered successful or something. And I think that is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so the next one is that Thomas is so overrated. He's mainly just creepy and people wouldn't like him as much if he wasn't played by Matt. Yeah, this is pretty much my argument in my Christmas special video. And yeah, I completely agree. I wouldn't really say he's overrated. I really like Thomas as a character, but yeah, I think people wouldn't be shipping Thomas and Alison together if he wasn't played by Matt. Yeah, Thomas is a very conflicted character in my mind because I do really like him, but then I also do find him a bit creepy and his advances to Alison inappropriate. The next one is, as much as I want Cap to come out, I don't think he should yet, because his character is that he is an army captain who is repressed, like with Mary and the witch trial. It's part of her character. If she addresses it, it takes that away from her. So maybe the last episode of the final series he can come out, then it gets sucked off. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he should come out. I think a big part of his character is the fact that he's repressed, like with Mary. Yeah, I feel like that is going to be his kind of final thing he has to address within himself to be able to move on. I'm really interested. I really want to know what Annie, is that her name, that Mary was from. I want to know what she did to move on or get sucked off, because no, we haven't really had any idea of what they need to accomplish to be able to move on into the afterlife, So yeah, I don't think he should come out until, you know, the last episode when he's ready to move on. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I don't ship the Captain and Havers. I think Havers was important, and I definitely think that their section of Reading Weddy was beautiful, but personally I don't think it's very healthy for the Captain to be pining over him. It's not very romantic in my opinion. I think this is probably the most unpopular opinion I've got. Everybody that I've seen ships like Captain and Havers, and I do too. I agree that it is kind of like he shouldn't be still hung up on it, but like if you think about it, is probably first and only love, potentially, if it's been reciprocated. Or like, I can't imagine the kind of being in love with somebody but society stopping you from expressing it. I think that must have been so hard. So I don't have an issue with him holding on for it so long, especially because Thomas is doing the same thing with Isabel, and that was for like even longer, like before the Captain. I do disagree, but respectfully. Oh, another Captain and Havers one. As much as I want Captain and Havers to have a happy ending, I think most of it would be better left unsaid. I would rather they reunite, hug and get close again, and then no more be said about it than a full-blown love confession. I think it'd be sweeter that way. Oh, yeah, I think I agree. I think, yeah, I don't think Havers is going to come back, even in like a flashback episode. I don't see that happening. Yeah, I think if there was to be a Havers Captain reunion, then I think just kind of them accepting each other is kind of nicer. Like, full-blown love confessions can be a bit cringy, and I feel like just to kind of, they see each other and then they just know each other feels the same way, and that kind of leads to a, you know, a hug or a kiss, whatever, then I think that is just inherently more romantic. So that's all of the unpopular opinions. There's one more comment I want to look at. It was not an unpopular opinion, but I think it's just really good. So I hope we see a flashback to Pat's life where we see his best friend. It would be amazing if he was played by David Mitchell. Yes, I want a return of the Mark and Gerald rivalry. Also, can we please have Alice Lowe playing an obnoxious psychic who comes to Button House for some reason? Yes, I really want to see kind of Pat's childhood, like, best friend that married his wife. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I don't think it would be David Mitchell, but like a reference to Peep Show would be brilliant, and I'm all for that. And Alice Lowe, I would absolutely love to see her reunited with the cast, because she is one of the most underrated characters and actors from Horrible Histories. You know, obviously she has the chemistry with the original cast. She would just be perfect coming into the show, especially for like one episode. I think that would be absolutely brilliant. So that's the end of the video. There was a lot of brilliant opinions in that, and I really like discussing and thinking about alternative opinions. I think it's a great thing to do with this kind of show. And yeah, if you want to see more videos, then subscribe, and please like this video if you did like it, and leave a comment below if you want to give some more unpopular opinions, or if you want to discuss the opinions shared in this video, then that would be amazing. And I've linked my Instagram and my Twitter down below. It's @JamieDoesTV for both. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!